All right, in this video we are going to check out the form builder, the custom form builder that you have access to in Clique CRM. So by selecting this tab here, going to form builder, you'll arrive at this page. Now to create a new form, you'll simply click this button up here. Name the form, and you'll arrive in the form builder page. So you will typically start by adding in first name, last name, phone and email. First name and last name I don't believe are entirely required, but either phone or email is entirely required. What I mean by that is if you take these off, try to save, either phone or email needs to be present. So if we select just email, we're in good shape. If we take off the first and last name, we're in good shape. We have to have either an email or phone number in the system. And you can click and drag each one of these fields. So feel free to adjust them, put them wherever you need. But after we've selected first, last name, and email at the very least, we can go through and add in default fields. So for example, company name, city, state, any notes, an address, anything we want to add in there that are simply default fields within Clique. Or we can add in there custom fields. So you'll see tests 1, 2, and 333. You can add in custom bits of data to collect on a prospect or on a client to be put into their specific contact page after they fill out this form. Likewise, all of these other things are selectable. Header is going to show a nice large message at the top. Or if you want that to be a little bit smaller, you can choose one of these options and decrease the size of that message. We'll stick with header 1. After you've done that and you've selected any other fields here to include in that form that you would have your prospect, your client, your prospective contact fill out, you can then proceed to customizing it. Make sure before you navigate out of this page and do anything at all, so we just added that header. If we navigate out of this page, it is going to delete the header if we have not saved it. So make sure and save the form anytime you add a field. Anytime you add a field. If you add 5 fields and navigate out of this page into this one, it's going to delete those 5 fields because you didn't save it first. So please make sure you can add 20, 30, 100 fields here, no problem, as long as you save it after, before navigating out. But after you've gone through and you saved that form, you can proceed to customizing it. So the form width, the form size, the background color, the text color, everything within the form itself. And then the submit button. What that submit button says. Does it just say submit? Maybe save information, save ticket, save request. The text color and the background of that button and the width. Does it take up the entire screen? Does it just take up 50%? Totally up to you. If it displays your agency logo, your company logo at the top, and then what the background is. Is it just a color or is it an image? Do you want to upload an entire image for the background? You can do that right from this drop down. And then we'll want to save style. It's going to save once, and then it's going to save the form itself. So it takes a couple seconds. There's a couple second lag in there. And then you are able to go into the settings itself. So you can go into the form, change the form's name, which is basically how it's going to appear on the tab. So you'll see once we view the link for this form, it's actually going to appear on the tab. If it links to a certain campaign or to a certain pipeline automatically, and at what stage. And then what happens after they click submit? Does it simply display a editable thank you message? Does it redirect to an entirely different URL? Also down here, does it show agency branding down at the bottom? And does it update an existing contact's values? We always recommend you do this, especially if you know for sure that this is going to a client or to somebody who is already within your system. And then what happens after they do it? What status of the form itself on the back end is going to occur when they click submit? From there, you would typically save the settings. I'm just going to exit out. But from here you can view it. You can preview that form. It looks absolutely gorgeous just by default, with your logo at the top, your favicon right here, the name of your form that you chose on the tab itself. Your custom link is going to show you exactly what it looks like to the public. Your header is right here and all the data you wanted to collect. Your submit button reads submit now instead of save information as it did originally. And you can change the color of this button again by going back to those settings, how everything looks. From there, you can choose to share it with a link, just as we just viewed it. You can choose to embed it into your website. Very quick and easy with every website out there, from WordPress to Wix. It's very easy to embed a form. And then HTML will allow you to further customize this form. So if you were to use an HTML editor and you copy this entire thing to your clipboard and paste it into that HTML editor, you will then be able to edit it and have it appear any way you can possibly imagine. And then you can put that into a website. You can put that into another source that will display your HTML code as a form. From there, after you've created this form and you have people starting to sign up, you can start to view how many visits that form has had, how many times people have selected submit, how many contacts have been added from that form, and more from here, even more data. Now, I do want to touch base briefly on creating a trigger from a form submission. You know, that'll go more into the trigger functionality and maybe into that module, but I just want to touch base on it just in case you plan on building a form directly after this video and connecting it to automation. So from the triggers, and after you've created a specific trigger for this form, you'll go in and choose for the trigger itself. So the trigger itself is going to be a form submission. And we will say a form submit rather than a duplicate submission. So, you know, them submitting that same form a second time. And we will say that new form test that we just created is going to trigger adding a certain tag, removing from all other campaigns, from all campaigns entirely, adding to a certain campaign, sending an email, sending an SMS message, adding notes, adding an activity. Completely up to you what happens within this trigger. And again, we are going to touch base on the triggers in far greater detail in a future module. But I just wanted to briefly show you how to connect that form you just created to automation. Let us know if you have any questions whatsoever, but this was the video on the custom form builder inside of Clique.